I'm making a yummy Christmas traditional treat today. I am making my vegan panettone. It is an Italian bread that's like a dessert, and you can eat it for breakfast. It's got the key ingredient, orange and lemon zest, which makes it so fresh and delicious. But I've got my flour and some raisins, and just some basic ingredients to put this together. It's not a difficult recipe, but it does take some planning and time because you do have to let the dough rise for a while and get all your ingredients together. Really, the longest part is grating the orange and lemon zest, which is a key ingredient. It's really delicious. Just gives it such a bright flavor, and it feels very natural. It doesn't feel like anything artificial like you might buy. So I really love this, and there's no eggs in it. And it really comes together really nicely, and as you're taking all the time to grate the zest, it's really worth it because it smells so good. So let me show you how to get started with this. I've got my the yeast that I have already put in a bowl with some sugar and warm water, and it gets a little foamy. That's how you want it to get after about 15-20 minutes, just to proof the yeast, make sure that it's going to rise. Then what I'm going to do is add in my flour, this is going to make 2 large panettones. But this is 9 cups of flour. I know it's a lot of flour, so I'm using my biggest bowl for this. And I'm just going to put all of the flour in this really big bowl. And of course, I'm wearing black, so okay. And we're just going to mix that for now. That's the first part. Just get the flour mixed in there. And then we're going to add our other ingredients. And as far as the orange and lemon zest, I always use organic, and I wash them anyway. But if you can't find organic, just make sure you scrub them really well because you are using the zest of it. 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Olive oil is actually in a lot of cakes in Italy, but it's such a basic ingredient, it's really nice. Okay, then we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Okay. And a teaspoon of salt. All right, then I'm going to add in our raisins. You can substitute dried cranberries or chocolate chunks if you don't like the raisins, but I like how they are in this recipe. Start to mix that around a little bit. Before we get going, I'm going to add in all of our grated zest. It just smells so bright, and that citrus flavor is just such a clean, pleasant flavor. You just want to get all of that. And I just use a piece of parchment to get the zest, and then dump it in there. Okay. We're just gonna look how pretty all of that looks. And as you're putting this together, it really smells so nice. So it's a little involved, but it's really worth it. And I've been making this for a couple of years now. I first was trying to purchase a panettone that was vegan, and I just could not find it anywhere. So I decided to make my own, and it has worked out so well. And I've been making it for the past few years at Christmas time. I give them as gifts. You can wrap it up and bring it to a neighbor or a friend. And it's really lovely packaging, and you can keep it in the fridge for, weeks. I just cut a little bit at a time. Let's see, that's how that's coming together. It's a little tricky at first We're gonna knead it in a few minutes. Before I go any further, if you really want to gild the lily, I have some of my favorite orange slices in syrup and brandy from Italy. They are so delicious. You don't have to add this, but it is such a nice flavor with desserts and bread, so I'm just gonna add in a couple slices that I cut very small into small pieces. And I think this is gonna make it extra special. Okay, I floured my hands a little bit to be able to work with this. I'm just gonna put it on the counter with some flour. And we're just gonna really just try, and I have a nice smooth countertop, so I'm doing it over here, but just kind of give it a little bit of a couple of kneads here just to kind of get it all incorporated so that I can let it rise in the oven. And we're going to cover it and get back to it in about 2 hours to let it double in size. Then we're going to punch it down and let it rise a little bit more, and I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, I've got my dough that has really, really risen. Look at how huge that is right now. It's pretty heavy too. And what I'm gonna do is knead it a little bit and divide it in half and then put it in these really pretty paper wrappers. They're gonna bake right in here. It's got like a little cardboard bottom with little holes in it. And they just make a really pretty presentation. And that's what you can, give as a gift or something. But it's really, really nice. And already I can smell the citrus in here. It smells so good. So I'm going to take this out, put it on my countertop. That big hunk of dough. I've got a floured surface here now. I'm going to knead it just a little bit and punch it down. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful already? I mean, it's just such a soft dough. And it smells great. Okay. I want to make sure I get everything incorporated, the raisins and the orange. And just knead it a little bit. Great. Yeah, look at that. That is beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm just going to put each piece right into these paper wrappers. That's got that nice orange that was soaking in the brandy. The orange slices, that's going to be really good. Okay, so that's how they're going to sit, just in the wrappers like that. And I'm going to put them back in the oven. The oven again is not on, it's still just a little bit warm, and let it rise for about another hour. And then I'm going to leave them in the oven and start baking them. So it is a process, but it's so worth it because they are so, so good. So I will be right back. Okay, I have my panettone that has now risen for the second time in the paper wrappers, and it did rise a bit more, and it looks so beautiful. You can even smell it. It smells really nice, even though it hasn't even been starting to bake yet. So now what I'm going to do, now that they're ready to go into the oven, it's going to go into the oven as it's preheating. And it's going to be at 400 degrees for about 50 minutes. And I'm actually going to brush some of the Oatly plant milk on them first, just to give them like a little glaze. So instead of an egg wash, I like to use plant milk, and that works really well too. Just gives it like a slight little glaze on there. And these are gonna look so pretty. this lovely Italian dessert out of Milan. That's where it started, so it's very stylish and very pretty and super tasty. I just want to coat these a little bit. Okay. All right, done. So into the oven they go, 400 degrees for about 50 minutes. And you'll start to smell this beautiful aroma, and they'll get nice and golden brown on top, you'll see. Okay, I've got my panettone right out of the oven. It is very hot, but it smells amazing, and it is just so beautiful. Look at that. It has such a nice crust on the top, and then you can see inside some of the raisins and the zest and the oranges that were soaked in the brandy, and it smells just so amazing. Really good ingredients make a big difference in baking these panettone. So I'm going to have them for dessert, not all of them. I will probably give one away. But it really does make such a nice presentation. And I did want to also mention, if you can't find these wrappers, you can really just take a paper bag, just a brown paper bag, and fold it over kind of in this cylindrical shape, and just use that instead. These are actually pretty inexpensive, but if you can't find them or can't get them in time, that would be a great way to go as well. So how I would serve it is on a pedestal, and I'll probably cut a few slices, but doesn't that look so beautiful? It's really so nice for the holidays and your guests and for yourself, and it's great for breakfast. It's great as a dessert or a little snack. I usually put a little jam on mine that I really enjoy. So I hope that you enjoy this as well, and it does take some time, so don't get frustrated, but plan ahead, and it will really be worth it. Happy holidays.